Eala Alcantara settled for SEA Games Mixed Doubles Bronze. Manila, Philippines. Eala and partner Nino Alcantara fell to home bets, Patron Chipchandage and Part Sornlaxip, 7-5, 5-7, 7-10, to settle for a bronze medal in the 33rd Southeast Asian Games Mixed Doubles, Wednesday at the National Tennis Development Center in Nonthaburi, Thailand. On the heels of a 6-4, 6-3 win over Singapore's Daniel Abadia and Wei Chu, the power tandem wasted a 1-0 set lead and could not overturn a 4-7 deficit in the decider for a tough semifinal defeat, and the third bronze medal for Team Philippines after wins in the men's and women's team events. Eala, WTA number 52, and the grizzled Alcantara cooled down in the second set, failing to recover the momentum with 1-3 and 4-7 deficits. The duo tried to mount one last stand, striking to within 7-8 only to commit back-to-back errors for a stinging loss. "Next time, partner. It's not meant for us this year," said the 20-year-old Eala as she and the 33-year-old Alcantara also notched their second bronze medal after leading the men's and women's teams to semifinal finishes. Overall, Eala has won 5 bronze medals since debuting in the 2022 Hanoi Games, shifting her focus now on the women's singles finals for a shot at breakthrough championship in the biennial tourney. She's the first Filipino in any SEA Games tennis finals since Ana Clarice Patrimonio lost to Thai Laksika Kumkum in the 2027 Kuala Lumpur Games. Stating in her way for history is another Thai bet in Swanky Manankia, WTA number 240, in the title showdown after the women's doubles final starting at 10 a.m. at Center Court. Eala, who settled for bronze in her SEA Games debut with a semis defeat to Patrimonio's tormentor in Kumkum 3 years ago in Vietnam, will bank on 2 straight sweep victories against Thai Naklo Thassasporn, 6-1, 6-4, and Malaysian Xiaomi Lishan Leong, to complete a perfect campaign without yielding a single set. The 23-year-old Manankia, for her part, made it to the finals after stunning Indonesian title favorite and second seed Janice Jen, who was forced to retire in the second set due to health problem after losing the opener, 4-6. Chen, who beat Eala in the WTA 250 Sao Paulo Open quarterfinals in Brazil leading up to the SEA Games, was a projected finalist as well as the number 54 player in the world rankings. The sun in Phnom Penh did not care for margins. It burned gold across the court, across the flags, across the quiet breaths taken between points. It shone just as brightly for champions as it did for those who would walk away with something less than the dream they carried in their bags. Eala adjusted her grip, feeling the familiar roughness of the racket handle against her palm. Across the net, the match moved on without ceremony, as matches always do. There was no pause for what-ifs, no mercy for near misses. Beside her, Francis Casey Alcantara bounced on his toes, eyes forward, shoulders squared. They had been here before, on courts louder and quieter than this, but the weight of the moment was unmistakable. This was the SEA Games. This was mixed doubles. This was the line between silver hopes and bronze reality. For days, they had moved together like a sentence spoken in 2 voices. Her clean, early timing, his steady presence at the net, youth and experience braided into something surprisingly fluent. They were not the loudest pair in the draw, nor the most heralded, but they had learned to listen to each other's rhythms, the subtle signals of when to poach, when to wait, when to trust. Yet tennis is a sport that rewards perfection and punishes hesitation. In the semi-final, perfection flickered but never fully settled. A return sailed long by inches. A volley kissed the tape and fell back. Small moments, invisible to most of the crowd, stacked themselves into a wall too high to climb. And so, instead of playing for gold, Eala and Alcantara found themselves in the match no one dreams about as a child, the battle for bronze. The phrase "settle for" has a sharp edge. It suggests surrender, resignation, a quiet lowering of standards. But nothing about settling for bronze feels settled when your lungs are burning, when your legs ache, when every point asks for honesty. Bronze is not given. It is wrestled from doubt. The match unfolded under a sky that refused to soften. Sweat traced lines down foreheads and arms. The rallies were shorter now, more urgent, as if both pairs understood that hesitation would be punished faster than ambition. Eala chased down a drop shot, flicking it cross-court, with a flash of instinct that reminded everyone why her name carried weight beyond her years. Alcantara followed with a sharp interception at the net, a punctuation marked to the point. There were smiles between them, brief, private acknowledgments that said, "We're still here. We're still fighting." Between games, Eala glanced toward the stands. Somewhere beyond the noise and color were people watching back home, some waking early, some sneaking glances at screens during work or school. She thought of courts she had grown up on, of long afternoons spent hitting balls until the light faded. None of that had been about medals. It had been about love for the game. The medal, she reminded herself, was a symbol, not the story. Alcantara, the steadier of the two, carried his own quiet reflections. He had seen enough tennis to know that careers are not defined by a single result, but by the willingness to show up again and again. He knew how thin the line was between victory and regret. In mixed doubles, chemistry mattered as much as skill, and he felt proud of how they had met each other halfway, how they had trusted. The final points came not with fireworks, but with resolve. A service return landed deep. A rally stretched, tightened, then broke in their favor. When the last ball was struck and the outcome confirmed, there was no dramatic collapse to the court, no roar that shook the stands. Instead, there was a shared exhale. They had done enough. Bronze. The medal ceremony was brief, efficient, almost understated. The bronze discs caught the light, warm and solid against the palm. As it was placed around her neck, Eala felt a surprising calm. Not joy exactly, not disappointment either. Something more complex, more honest. Pride mixed with hunger. Gratitude braided with restlessness. On the podium, Alcantara stood tall, eyes forward. He clapped for the gold medalists, for the silver, understanding that respect is part of the sport's unwritten code. When the anthem played, it was not theirs, but he listened anyway, aware that moments like this teach as much as they reward. Later, away from the microphones and cameras, the bronze medal rested on a bench, catching the last of the afternoon light. It looked heavier now, not because of its metal, but because of what it carried. Early mornings, hard conversations, missed chances, and earned resilience.